Chris Michaelek back again with some more cybersecurity discussion. And here I want to start with one of the more basic ones, which is real simple. Why in the world am I going to invest more money in cybersecurity? Because much like insurance and things, cybersecurity is very much one of those, you're going to think that you got a good deal and a good investment if nothing's happening, nothing bad's happening. And that's kind of tough to know, because the question is, well, if we didn't do this, would we have problems? And a lot of times it is tough to say, but what I am going to tell you is that much like having insurance for your business in case fire, flood, in our area of the country here in North Carolina, we have to worry about hurricanes, occasionally tornadoes, those sorts of things. If those were to happen, you have insurance, for that. So cybersecurity is there because you will be the victim of some sort of cyber attack or hack. Now, it may not be super severe, depending on the attack. Sometimes somebody just gains access to an account, but it can be bad. We've seen we've seen wire fraud. We've seen credentials leaked for organizations, confidential information that you may have about clients, may have about your vendors, may have about your employees, that sort of stuff getting out. That is massively disruptive to your organization. Imagine for me that you come in one morning, let's say, because this is popular, unfortunately, you come in on Monday morning and you go to log in to your computer and it logs in, and then you get a message up on your screen and it says, hey, all your files have been encrypted. You got to send, $15,000 in Bitcoin within 24 hours to get them unlocked. We have taken all the data. And by the way, we've also encrypted everything else in your network. So most of your computer systems, they're going to get the same message, and stuff on your server also is there. Best case, even if you have backups, that is significantly disruptive. Several days you're going to be recovering. And now, of course, with ransomware, we have to assume that they took the data. And you're going to have to comply with breach notification laws, which are only getting more and more severe, by the way, because this is becoming a bigger and bigger problem. And chances are, if you're watching this video, you're not a Facebook, you're not an Apple, you're not a big organization that can weather these sorts of things. Because, you see like Facebook will have a breach and they'll pay a big fine, big to probably you and I. But for them, it really is a drop in the bucket. But smaller organizations don't have that luxury. This could be an extinction level event. So that's why you invest in cybersecurity. Now, the question becomes, do you know you're getting a good return on your investment? Are you investing in the right things? And do you need to maybe reallocate some dollars to different things? In a previous video, I talked about security assessments, and that very much will help you in that. But again, the big takeaway of why you're going to invest in this is because otherwise it will catch up with you if you don't spend. It's like if you got machines in your organization and you don't bother investing in maintenance on those, and maybe they need updates or something like that. Parts wear out, right? Well, if you don't bother investing, you can get away. Manufacturer may say, hey, replace this every 2 years, and you're going on 4, and everything still seems to be fine. But all it's going to take is coming in one morning or having a big job and something, a particular belt breaks in a machine or something like that, and now production is stopped and you can't do what you need to do. That's what not investing in cybersecurity is like. It's going to catch up with you at some point, just a matter of when. So that's why you need to be taking steps to look at your cybersecurity budget, likely provide a bit of an increase, because these attacks are getting more and more dangerous, more and more prevalent, and more damaging. A few years ago, it was pretty common for me to sell a backup solution essentially as a ransomware recovery tool. And what I mean by that is you get ransomware on your network, they're not going to have actually seen your files. They're just going to drop this on there some way, whether somebody downloaded something, somebody went to a bad website, somebody opened a malicious email. And yes, everything's encrypted and it's so good, but if we have good backups, especially those that are kept off-site and segregated, we can get you back in, about a day in most cases for most organizations, which isn't, for most organizations, smaller ones, not too bad. You don't want to lose a day, but compared to some other costs, okay. But now, well, the ransomware folks picked up that it would be a lot more valuable if they were able to extract that data, hold that for ransom as well, and threaten to leak it. Because then otherwise people were just investing in these backup solutions and they weren't getting paid like they wanted. And with ransomware being so profitable for these folks, they said, well, if we can find some way to much like a business, guys, I don't know if I've hammered this in enough of my videos, but modern day hacking runs very much like a business. How can we be more profitable? How can we be more efficient? How can we do more with less? All these sorts of the questions that you face in the boardroom yourself are the same things that these hackers are doing in most cases, because most of these are large criminal enterprises, some cases state-sponsored. But they will now take your data and they will hold that for ransom. You're having to rely on their ethics that they're not going to leak that, because if they leak it, that's incredibly damaging. Imagine having to tell all your clients, all your employees, hey, look, Social Security numbers might have been leaked, bank account information might have been leaked, all sorts of private stuff might have been leaked here, and we don't even know necessarily to whom, because these organizations are shadows. They're not going to identify themselves readily. They can make it look like it came from someplace other than what it came from. These are the sorts of things that we want to prevent, and why cybersecurity is more important than ever. Because again, a few years ago, I would have said, hey, get a good backup solution, pay a few $100s a month for that. You already need it in case somebody accidentally deletes something, or somebody in your organization gets really upset and decides to do some damage on their way out the door. So here we're also going to protect you from that. But now it's about so much more than that. We don't want the software to even get on the systems, because it's so much damaging even if it gets on. And ransomware is usually the last sign that somebody's been on your network. They might have been in there for 3, 4, or 5 months undetected in most cases. And that's a big deal, because, well, if they've been in there that long, what did they have access to? So look at increasing your cybersecurity budget, but look at where you're spending too. It is essential. It's something that you can't ignore. Even if you're a smaller organization, you've got to have some line item in the budget for that. Now, it may start off small, and I recognize that budgets being what they are, it can't just throw a bunch of money at something unless you're wildly profitable. But you can't just ignore this either. You've got to take some action. And I'll reference again my previous video on the assessments. That's where you want to start, because then you're going to know that you're using your dollars wisely. You may be able to reallocate some spending that you already had, especially if you're looking more at remote work. Then we're going to want to place more of an emphasis on device security versus at your office with firewalls and that sort of thing. So this is things that you need to look at, and my mantra is, if you haven't looked at it in the last year, it's time to do it. And ideally bringing in another outside consultant to help you. Even if you've got a great IT department, I'm not saying they're lying to you, because that's probably not the case. But it helps to have an experienced group who knows how to uncover all these things effectively, and then you're going to know your risk profile, where you need to spend. So again, so you can keep operating. That's really what it comes down to. I mean, in large organizations, and I'm talking, multi-billion-dollar companies, have been shut down in some cases for weeks from ransomware. That's going to do to, again, if you're watching this video, I'm making some assumptions, but I'm assuming you're a smaller, business owner, executive manager, that sort of thing is your profile. You're probably not in a multi-billion-dollar organization. So if it's going to grind those guys to a halt for a few weeks, and then they've got full legal departments, a lot of spending they can unlock, they can get easy access to loans in most cases if they need extra cash infusions, you're not going to have access to that. So it's important that you take action here to keep your system secure, and to just look at where you're spending and start to get that plan in place. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget, like and subscribe, hit the bell icon, go to all, so that way you get notified when the next video drops. I got a ton more cybersecurity knowledge here to drop on you guys, and as I hope you've seen, I'm trying to keep this as non-technical as possible, because I don't want your eyes to glaze over. That's no fun. Ultimately, what we want to look at is the steps that you can take as a business leader to keep your organization secure and make sure that you know where you're at, where you need to go, and that you've got that cybersecurity journey, and that's the trip you're on. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much. Take care.